It is one thing to write about the Derby della Capitale. Whether it is probable formation, storylines, or predictions, the amount of journal going into it is endless. It's another thing to live the Derby. And notice I said Derby, the Derby, because allegiance aside, no Derby, specifically in Italy, captures more in the week leading up or in those 90 minutes than the Rome Derby. Funny enough, that's probably the one or very few things SS Lazio and AS Roma fans will agree on. The prerequisite is already there, the rivalry. It's been there since 1927 or whenever AS Roma decided it wants to be born. Any self-respecting Serie A Calcio fan knows how these teams came to be. So let's be brief with the details and, more importantly, remove politics aside from any form of discussion because, in its true form, this is about football. A fast track through the details, the history is born out of resistance. Who are the true holders of the city? Well, from our point of view, it's our duty to defend it since we were here first. 9 gennaio 1900. We know this. They know this. What the casual fan doesn't know is the Derby is not just in these 90 minutes. No, it's lived 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, especially if you live in Rome. Imagine this. Going to work every day, pulling your ass out of bed in a job that you already detest, hate, can't stand. You have to deal with coworkers that absolutely make you sick. Tack on the fact that they're Romanisti or Laziali, and you have to hear about the constant travails and how their team has been wronged all season long. You can't escape it. You mix in the banter in the wine bar. You can hear it in a distance, from the Città to the Paese. Whether you boast from Trastevere or Testaccio, or you commute in from Quattricciolo or Civitavecchia, the Derby is felt and is around you every day. But for those 90 minutes, the pure vitriol spews from days and months of teasing and torture. Nobody could understand this unless you are there. And I have had the privilege of experiencing this lead-up, the anxiety in the streets, and the release of that tension with a goal on multiple occasions. Everyone walks a different path and experiences are unique. I understand that. So this is the Derby through my eyes. The 90 minutes aside, the week leading up to the match, that, my friends, is the event. I can remember getting off the plane, and the first thing I see is someone resembling a South Asian descent wearing a knockoff Roma jersey, hustling to find people cabs, and my friend immediately said, "So, if you immigrate to Roma, you are automatically a Roma fan." They don't know any better, so they just roll with the trend, and more as the week went on, you saw that type of fan who probably couldn't name half of their starting 11, but was boasting about the Derby, and you might think this is irrelevant, but as the tension starts to build, as the days become hours, become minutes, and the fact that you hear them claim to be the holders of the city, you really start to laugh and want to show them the types of people who are flying their flags. Now, running a successful English podcast for many years on all things Lazio called The North Curve allowed me the privilege to connect with English-speaking Laziali from all over the world. What today is called Lazio Land, formed by the then announcer of the Olimpico, Paolo Peroso, he united fans under the same flag. It was the crucial tie in 2010 where we partied in the wine bar swapping stories and meeting club legend and captain Pino Wilson. It was there where Alessio shared the experiences of the tense walk home from the abandoned Derby a few years before that, and the fear of not sure where your surroundings might be that late into the night. And I didn't realize it, but 24 hours later, I would find myself on that same tense walk in and out of the Olimpico, which resembled more like Afghanistan than actually Rome. Luckily, I had a Laziale cab driver pick us up in front of the Obelisk del Foro Italico. He said right off the top, he knew we were in danger, and this is why I don't come to the stadium anymore, as the Romanisti were banging on our cab window as we were driving through them to try to get to the Lazio store. And it's hard to maintain cohesion from the group. I know you're wondering, why didn't you stay with your group of the more seasoned veterans of the Derby from the likes of Sweden or the UK, who I had just met the night before? But getting to the Olimpico is really not that convenient, and I should advise anyone planning to go. Everything always seems to get rather confusing once you have to change lines at the Piazza Mancini. I would right that wrong 6 years later, entering through Ponte Milvio, where you really get the full experience, cracking open a big bottle of beer, serving it in plastic cups with your friends. And before you know it, you're doing shots of Strega with the Curva Nord and burning Roma scarves that you grabbed off a stupid brave soul who tried to travel through Ponte Milvio. After the banter has concluded, the official lineups have been released, and of course, Totti makes his incredible, miraculous return to the lineup after questions all week about his fitness. So from there, you begin the pilgrimage. You walk through the 2 checkpoints entering the stadium. The irony continues when I'm harassed for bringing in my Canadian flag at the entrance, only to hear a smoke bomb go off in the distance. The angst inside me continues to build as I walk up the stairs. The roar grows louder. It's like something out of a film. I walk through the Ingresso 46, the chants back and forth as the Cori continues to build. I stop my excited feet at the barrier to gaze across directly in the forefront, a sea of red trying to unravel a banner, much to the delight of us in the true north that they can't get it unraveled. From there, I'm reunited with my traveling partners from Toronto, just like I would be again 6 years later in the Distinti. It's there I finally see and stand beside the people that I've shared messages with over the years. Nigel from Singapore. I drink beers with Debbie Martin and Scott from the UK. I swap stories with Susan from Sweden. I catch peanuts from the old man who travels up and down the aisle, who can catch the coin from any angle. But most of all, I sing. I sing my heart out with my brothers and sisters in the True North Curve. From there, the match is split into parts or episodes as your attention is constantly being tugged at and pulled away from the pitch. You truly need to have ice in your veins off it just as much on it to win this match. There's a fight breaking out in the central area of the Tevere, where stewards watch helplessly as belts are flying, chairs are trying to be ripped off, and you can't help but shout because you are so far away. You want to be there in the front line, the line of fire with your fellow Laziali. Then a reckless challenge back on the pitch, followed by pushing and shoving and whistling. New songs are being sung that you've never heard before from TV or watching on YouTube before you travel there. You're trying to join in before you're sent 3 rows flying in front of you. Why? Because your hero, Tommaso Rocchi, has just got on the end of a deft ball by Ledesma. It's pure euphoria. You're hugging people you don't know the names of while trying to find your glasses at the same point. Cue more flares, more smoke bombs. You'll need 15 minutes of the interval just to collect your breath and sit down on the newspapers and leaflets being distributed outside the stadium. You're hopped up on a good mood, and it surely turns and escalates into pure jubilation with the pounding run right in front of you. Your heart continues to race as Kolarov is brought down. A penalty is awarded and could surely end this match. The sounds I would hear right after that in the distance and some of the echoes still haunt me to this day. Flokari's missed penalty cheers ensuring a Kolarov cause a penalty within minutes. The cheers in the distance felt like someone ripped my heart right out of my chest and continued to stomp on it as the wall in front of Musleta parted and Vucinic was off running into that sea of red. I'm not sure if it was anger or not, but all I saw was red. Hatred. Venom. Pure anger. To want to see someone dead is really extreme, and it sounds ridiculous, but after paying your hard-earned money to travel 7,000 kilometers just to see that poor excuse of a man try to resemble a Caesar, giving the pollice verso or thumbs down expression, I really thought for life, as we know it, stood still for a moment there. We'd surely be relegated, and they surely would win the Scudetto. Well, thankfully none of that happened. But it was in those moments, leaving the stadium, seeing old women crying, and the fans of Lazio actually fighting each other, I knew this wasn't your ordinary city derby. Fast forward to 6 years later, and I find a very different scene. An empty Olimpico, and a rather bleak time for a club languishing mid-table. Pioli reigniting old wounds and dying embers of a fire. The Formello locking the staff and players all inside the training ground to avoid the backlash of the Popolo, who watched their Lazio crumble 4-1 earlier that day. Well, it's safe to say my meeting with the player then, Eddie Onazzi, can't possibly happen, as the Ultras want vengeance for the embarrassing performance. And I can't blame them. I know that feeling all too well. Trying to tie something up like this is impossible, because I have unfinished business in Rome. Although 26 Maggio came and went, and it allowed for no revenge in the cup, and maintains our first-team status, I will return to right this wrong one day. And until that next meeting at the Flann O'Brien pub with Laziali from all over Europe and Asia, the bitterness will be palpable, but any angst will surely be washed away with every passing derby victory, together inside SS Lazio Toronto, or if I travel south with Lazio Club New York. Sempre presente, soffri insieme, Forza Lazio.